What is going on, everybody? Chapel here again for yet another year-end tradition. Chapel's Top 10 Albums of 2023. I know all y'all are salivating, waiting to hear what I got to talk about. Yeah, right. Lady Chapel is laughing very hard. So you know how I do this? I sit down. I usually got somebody across from me. It's in the beginning it used to be Keith, and now Lady Chapel sits across from me, and we'll talk about my top 10, my honorable mentions, and I got some EPs I listened to this year that were really good. So we're not going to spend too much time. Because usually sometimes in the older ones, sometimes I would have a little too much liquid courage to do these things, and sounded a little slurry sometimes. So I like to do this before that happens. So we're going to start it off before we even hit number 10. A shot for, the end of 2023 and bring on 2024. Let's see what music we've got in the future. Cheers to Lady Chapel.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody at home. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year, because today this will drop on New Year's. This will drop on New Year's, like I said. But today, it's Christmas. We're recording this on Christmas night. So, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Whatever you say, cheers. Love you all. Now, let's get this started, shall we? Number 10, a band that was actually introduced to me by Mr. Leo Dyer, formerly of Sumner Circle, now with his new doom band. I can't wait to hear when they're finally done. Sun Mantra. Cannot wait for Sun Mantra to finally put out something for everybody to hear. Shout out to Leo Dyer. But this is for a band that he introduced me to, a little doomy band. Y'all may see me wear their shirt last year, was Sorcia. Sorcia's new album, Lost Season, was good. I mean, I dig these guys. They make me think of like a doomier version of Acid Bath. Like, the singer really does some Acid Bath style stuff sometimes. Not all the time. I mean, they're not straight rip-offs by no means. But I could feel they have to be influenced by Acid Bath. I could be wrong, but this is just me personally, what I hear. But it's like a doomier Acid Bath. One of my favorite songs off of it is An Axe Named Otis, which I'm pretty sure come from the movie Frailty. That Lady Chapel and I got together 15, 16 years ago when we first started dating before we got married. I was like, you have to watch this movie. I love the movie Frailty. So I'm hoping that's got to be because the axe said Otis in that movie. And that really stuck out to me right away. But I love the doominess. Then again, I'm sorry. I'm so bad with remembering names nowadays. I used to be so good at just soaking in the names of everybody in these bands, and I'm not anymore. But the female bass player, she does vocals too, and I love what she does to add on to the already kind of aesthetic of what the band is. Like, when you hear her, it's almost haunting sometimes. Yeah. I really dig what she does too with the vocals. But I love all the vocals. I love the doominess, just the pure fuzz of it all. But yeah, Sorcia, good job on Lost Season. I cannot wait. Come to North Carolina, please. Can you come to North Carolina? I would love for you guys to come to North Carolina. I would. I can't wait to see you guys live. Hopefully, you'll come through on a tour sometime. So we'll move on to number 9. Number 9 is probably the most well-known used to be metal band. It's just a big band now, and that's Metallica. 72 Seasons. I never thought I would put Metallica on a top 10 list. I really wouldn't. I have very hit or miss kind of relationship with Metallica. Of course, I love, the early thrash albums. Who doesn't? If you're into metal, if you don't like the early thrash Metallica, go F yourself. I'm sorry. If you're in the metal, how are you not into those early albums? I could get where people start to lose interest in Metallica, but I still love stuff like, I still love the Black Album. A lot of people are like, oh, that's when they really sold out. And I'm thinking, they're just evolving, and they're becoming a bigger band. And as much as we love to talk about, how we love thrash will never be a top, selling in the sense of what Metallica is. They just evolved as they should. But some people don't like it. Some people do. But like I said, I mean, they've made albums I do not like, and I will express that. But 72 Seasons was great. It was good. My biggest complaint about it is Lars Ulrich. That's my biggest complaint. Sorry, Lars. Your drumming has become so generic over time. I mean, we know he loves a hi-hat. He plays for everything. I hear that the way he hits a hi-hat just drives me insane. He counts it for everything. And but his drumming, I used to think he was one of the greatest drummers, but he's really, he's the weakest link in the band for me. Everybody else I love. James's vocals sound great. Never sounded better. That the way he hits the Lux Eterna in the chorus, I'm like, wow, I'm impressed by what he could do there. Darkness had a son, here I am. They flow back and forth through. Lux Eterna is the closest you're going to get to thrash Metallica ever again. You just are, unless you go see them live and hear their songs. But on an album, that's the closest you're going to get. But then they still have stuff like If Darkness Had a Son, and that's such a mid to late 90s Metallica kind of rhythm. Da 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 dum. Da, da, da. I'm sorry. That's just, I've been around. I'm old now. I'm ancient. I am almost a myth. Almost. But we'll still keep the whole ancient thing, because I feel ancient now, compared to what kids are into now. Lorna Shore. No, I don't hate Lorna Shore, but so many people do. But so many people love them. I got to pick on my buddy Wes every now and then. I'm calling you out, Wes. Love you, brother. But yeah, Metallica 72. I even got it on vinyl, and I don't buy new vinyl much, and I definitely bought that vinyl, and I enjoyed it. There wasn't a lot of. I don't remember a song that stuck out to me that was just like, it's all right. I thought the production was good. The songs were well written. James sounded great. I could hear Robert's bass. Lars is the worst. Sorry. He's just my least favorite part of Metallica. But moving on, we're going to go ahead and move on to number 8. And it is a band that Lady Chapel and I got to see this year, and we also did the meet and greet and got to meet them, and that was Enslaved. Enslaved's new album, Hymnal, is beautiful. What a beautiful record. All right. First of all, we do have a concert chronicle of that show with Insomnium, who will be mentioned in this video. But what a show that was, and Enslaved just blew my mind. Such cool guys. Talked to the guitarist, and I remember he was a big Family Guy fan from back in the day, just reading Revolver magazines. Not just looking on the internet, on your phone, kids. Magazines, which we murdered trees to make. I remember him talking about being such a big Family Guy fan, and I've been a Family Guy fan for a very long time. And when I mentioned that to him, I said, "Hey, are you still a Family Guy fan?" And he showed me his tattoo that I didn't say anything, because I was like, I know because I have the issue of Revolver where he's showing off his tattoos, and he shows his self portrait of him as Peter from Family Guy, but it's him with his fucking Dark Throne shirt.
That was
and,
cool.
you know, looking all metal. And he showed it to, I was like, this is so cool. I mean, just chill dudes, really super cool. This album is, like I said, just beautiful. You can't make, between them and Emperor, I don't know who makes better progressive black metal. I really don't. Enslaved is just one of the greatest. And they were killer live. But this album, Forest Dweller and Kingdom, the way they flow into each other is just amazing. Forest Dweller is probably my favorite song on the album. But the whole album in general is just it flows together so well. And like I said, one of my favorite live experiences this year. And then we got, after that, we've got Cloak. Holy shit. This band, I honestly didn't know much about Cloak till last year, and I started listening to their album before, and then I was like, I cannot wait for this new album. And the new album, Black Flame Eternal, holy God, just blew my pants off. For the old school, it's such like old school metal, a little bit of black metal, thrash, but it's just one of those that just like, if you've been a metal fan for a long time, these guys, I mean, you know, it's like it makes you want to wear bullet belts, you know, and leather. That's what it makes you like, a leather jacket and a bullet belt, you know, like. I know it's been done 1,000 times, but for whatever reason, Cloak makes me just want to buy a bullet belt and put on some leather and just fucking scream my head off. So good. This band is so good. And I hate I missed them when they come through. They did the Carolina Chainsaw Massacre little festival that was like 2 days. And I hate I missed them. That was one band I wanted to see. And, but this new album, I mean, you definitely give me what I wanted when it just comes to just being it's just metal. You can't. I mean, I know that's a broad spectrum for some people, but to me, there's just like, oh, leather jackets, bullet belts, you know, type of metal. That's what it is. And it's just, I just want to crank it every time they come up. I'm like, yeah, I got to turn that up. I got to turn it up. They hit the right spot for me, and that album is a must for any metal fan. If you just like metal in general, you know, and you don't mind some harsh vocals. I mean, they're not quite a death metal band, but you know, they got those harsh vocals. It's not a clean vocal band, but God Almighty, it's so good. Definitely pick up Black Flame Eternal by Cloak and support those guys. Another super underground band. Number 6 is actually one of my favorite bands. This album, even though it's a little high, it's high on the list, and usually this band would probably be a little higher. But this was such a chill record, and not that I don't like chill records, but I'm just like, this band, I also like a lot of their like upbeat stuff, and it's Graveyard 6. It was still great. I still loved it, but it's such a super chill record. And, you know, they really mix the whole, like, if you like Black Sabbath, but you also just like anything kind of 70s rock feel to it as well, and with a little, like, chill rhythm and blues stuff. Like, when they do a slow, bluesy song, I absolutely love it. But this album was like almost too chill for me in a sense. Like I was like, you know, it needs a little upbeatness here and there, and which they still do a little bit, but not for what I like in a Graveyard record. I think it was more chill than upbeat, and I like kind of more upbeat and a little chill. You know, like when it comes to their flow of the records. But 6 was still just an awesome listen, and you can't. If I tell anybody, if you like any kind of like 70s rock, you cannot go wrong with Graveyard, and they perform well live. I saw them open for Clutch like 16 years ago, and I've been a fan ever since. Like, they blew my mind when they only had one album. I was like, this is such a good, tight fucking band. And last time we saw them was my 38th birthday. Right, well, the day before my 38th birthday in Nashville. And still just blows my mind how good that band is. And this album is no different. But, I mean, I love it. I love it in general as I love Graveyard. But I just, they need some... I guess some caffeine or some cocaine or something. They need a little kick at some parts of that album, or it would be higher. It would definitely be higher because I love Graveyard altogether. But I could ramble about Graveyard all day. But now is the part where we're going to take a mid-break shot because I'm at the number 5 spot. But before I go from number 5 on, I have honorable mentions, and I have EPs to talk about. But until then, we're going to do a shot. Merry Christmas. Cheers to Lady Jap.
Cheers.
Cheers to y'all. Honorable mentions. Anyways, here we go. First off, I have to talk about this because I haven't looked about it. Now that we have you here, I'm Joe Rogan, you're Young Jamie.
I was just going to say, I'm your Jamie.
Be Jamie, yes. And look up what is going on with Within Temptation's new album. Okay, first of all, Within Temptation is going to be the first honorable mention because they put out an album, but then changed the name later on and added a few songs. So I'm very confused as to what was going on because I listened to this Within Temptation album called Wireless, and then all of a sudden my Spotify throws a new Within Temptation. I was like, wait a minute, they just put out an album. How do they have a new album? And it's called Bleed Out. And I realized it's basically Wireless with some extra songs. The song Bleed Out, and I think there's some instrumental stuff. I don't really know. I mean, let me just say, another Concert Chronicle. We saw them open for Iron Maiden. Lady Chapel has been a fan of Within Temptation for at least 12 years, maybe pushing 15.
I think our first Christmas, you got me a Within Temptation shirt.
That's true. Oh, well, maybe it's been 15 years, 15, 16 years now. So I know that she's liked Within Temptation for a long time. And then this album and then the Bleed Out, I don't understand what's going on, but it wasn't bad. It was a bad listen. I'm glad that it was back to being a little more epic sounding, symphonic sounding Within Temptation compared to the more rock version that they kind of were going towards there for a while.
It really just says they made some last minute changes. The album had a different title. But Sharon says that the name was stronger and more representative of the real life struggles that had inspired some of their songs. So it was just kind of like a whim, really.
That's just weird to me. That's just weird to me. I'm sorry.
But it does say it was right after the band visited Kiev.
Oh, okay.
And so I guess that was a lot of inspiration of the name change. For it.
Okay. Well, now maybe that makes a little more sense. We're moving on to a band that I've loved forever, and that's In Flames. Now, I have a very love-hate relationship with In Flames. I've loved everything they did from their beginning, early, even death metal sounding stuff, to when they got to Come Clarity. I love that whole chunk of In Flames. After Come Clarity, not so much. They're just less and less. For years, I was just like, God, another In Flames record that I don't like. Was always so unhappy with them. And then this new album that came out this year, Foregone. Wow. Like, great. I almost made my top 10, but not quite. I was happy for them. I'm happy that they made a record like this again. But did they make a record like this again because the the times are changing a little bit? Some people are wanting stuff a little more heavier now in a popular vein. Why did they do this record? And part of me felt like because the Halo Effect came out and was like, oh, this is basically In Flames with Dark Tranquillity Singer, and it's amazing. And then In Flames was like, guess what? We can still write a heavy record, and they did, and it's great. But maybe it's a little too late. But I enjoyed the record. I can't say I didn't. There was a few things on there that I was like a little, I don't like that melody, or I don't like that. That sounds a little too much like too new In Flames to me.
Yeah.
But overall, everything else, I mean, beautiful. Still a band to see live. They still put on a killer show live. But definitely check out Foregone. It was a great record. Another band we saw live this year, Thulkandra. Hell, the Abyss. Killer dude from Obscura. Doing just a straight up, in your face metal record, not anything kind of tech death shit. It's definitely just a metal record, and it's a kick-ass record. Also another one. A lot of these were things that almost made my top 10, but Thulkandra definitely almost made it.
It was really hard top 10 this year.
It was a really hard top 10 this year. Cloak beat them out for that spot. Like, it was Cloak and Thulkandra. I was like, very similar in styles, but yet not. Like, Cloak just had it. But Thulkandra, definitely a good listen. Devil Driver, Dealing with Demons, Volume 2. I was so happy to hear Devil Driver again, sounding like Devil Driver. Like, it was very refreshing. Devil Driver. I had to go back and listen to. I missed somehow the Dealing with Demons Volume 1, and because I'd missed it somehow, but because the last album I listened to was their country, where they did the outlaw country meets metal record, and I as a fan of both. I'm a huge, I love Hank Williams III. I like a lot of the old school outlaw country guys, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, David Allan Coe. I like all those guys. This album disappointed me. I just didn't like the blend. It just didn't do right with me. So I kind of fell out with Devil Driver for the first time in a very long time. But now this brought me back in. Another one that could have made the top 10. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful record. Jim Miller's back up playing bass. Love it. Absolutely love it. But it just didn't quite get my top 10. I didn't listen to it as heavily as things that were in my top 10. And that's just how I kind of base it, is what am I listening to more, what's hitting me more. And Devil Driver was great. You can never usually go wrong with Devil Driver unless it's that one album. I think they're just a great band, and I love Dez. I've been a fan of Dez since 1996, and I love him today. Another one that takes me back to being in high school, Sevendust, Truth Killer. It didn't make my top 10. It's still not a bad listen if you're a Sevendust fan. LeJean's vocals still are just amazing. The band is still, it has that signature Sevendust sound. My biggest, not regret, but my biggest pet peeve probably of the album is too much electronic kind of stuff in it. I would rather not have that. I just want that crushing guitar sound that they had. I've never considered them a metal band, but they're a rock band that appealed to metal guys back in the late 90s. You know what I mean? And now still, they deserve more recognition than they get. They're one of the hardest working bands for the past, like I said, I first heard them in '96, and it's 2020. It's the end of 2023, and Seven Dust is still around, and they should be bigger than they are.
They really should be.
It's a friggin' travesty. But great. I still enjoyed the record. It was a good listen, but I had a good reason to go see them live for sure. To see them, if you get to see Seven Dust live, you are having a great day. What energy still to this day. I've been watching them live forever, and every time I see them, it's beautiful. Beautiful experience. This album, good. I enjoyed it, like I said, but some of the electronic stuff, it was just too much for me, or it was just too chill Seven Dust at times, and I'm like, I want like the punch in the face Seven Dust stuff. But still good record. And oh my God, one of the best. I'm sorry, going to have to say one of the straight up just best metal records of the year. Cataclysm's Goliath. Cataclysm is Cataclysm. You know what I mean? Like there's no, you know what you're getting if you're listening to Cataclysm. I mean, they're not going to break the mold in any sort of way, but they are going to try to rip your face off with just straight up metal. And what a band. This album was a fun listen, and yeah, definitely I'm head bobbing a lot to this. They got the right groove for the right kind of metal, death metal that they do. I mean, they're legends now. So, but didn't quite make my top 10. But I love them. I think the world of them. And this album was one of their better, newer releases that I've heard in a while. I mean, they're going to be what they are live. When you see Cataclysm, I mean, they're going to kick your ass live. But this album was like, I always try to listen to Cataclysm releases, and this one definitely stuck out more than their last few albums for me. I know there'll be somebody out there who doesn't like that, but I quite enjoyed this one. Here's a band that my brother in metal, Mr. Kevin Lewis. If you don't know Kevin, he played for a few bands like October 31. He played for Cryptomeria, and he's the Violent Fire's guitar player, one of the guitar players, and. That's still coming out. I swear it's still coming out. Everybody, it will be here at some point. But Kevin sent me this band, and it is Aquila. Aquila's The Gods Have Spoken. And I liked it a lot. It made me think of Insomnium in parts, but if Insomnium was more upbeat and had more to it. Where Insomnium is like, it's not that Insomnium's not bad. I love Insomnium, but it is more of a depressing sound. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's not an upbeat sound, but it's like a angry, depressive kind of sound. Where this one is not that much, but it does. A lot of their melodies and stuff they did made me think of Insomnium, for sure. But what a great album. Definitely pick if you've never heard of Aquila. Check them out. Another one. This one, almost. When I say almost, I mean it was on the cusp of making my top 10, and that is Crypta, Shadows of Sorrow. Man, from the ashes of what used to be the band Nervosa, here comes Crypta, all female metal band, and I'm not just jumping on it because it's an all-female band. It's a band. I don't give a shit if it's female, male, whatever. I don't care. I care if it's good. And Crypta does not disappoint. And this album definitely didn't disappoint me, but oh my God, this year was so hard to make a top 10. It was the hardest year to make a top 10. And Crypta was definitely an album their new one, I listened to a lot. But I think I enjoyed the first record better, but this one did not disappoint me. I mean, there was nothing that was bad about it. They were phenomenal, and I wish nothing but the best for Crypta. And I hope they keep just drilling the way they're doing right now, because they're definitely one of the best right now.
And sidebar, we will have a Concert Chronicles.
We will have a Concert Chronicles. We're one of our first shows is going to be Crypta this year, and I cannot wait. So I'm sorry I didn't get you into my top 10, and I wished I could, but at the same time I'll never stop talking about how much I love Crypta, and I cannot wait to see them live. Another record that really just kind of I didn't know if I'd like or not, and that's that Mammoth Wolfgang Van Halen. Not a bad listen. I enjoyed a lot of their stuff on there, but it wasn't going to make my top 10. But it was definitely like, I dig where he's going with his stuff. He's not trying to sound like his dad in any sort of way, and he's killing it right now. And I kudos to him is all I can say. And that record was a fun listen. But now we're going to get into Insomnium. I've done talked about them before. They just keep coming up. This album almost made my top 10 as well. Anno 1696. And we saw Insomnium, like I said, this year with Enslaved. One of the best sounding bands I've ever heard live. They knocked it out of the park live. Their new album was great. I did give it quite a few listens, but it was one that after I listened to it for a little while, I moved on to something else. And that's the thing about these top 10. These are albums I listen to. I still listen to a lot. But the new Insomnium album is great. So you definitely give that a listen. We're going to keep moving on because I'm trying to make this fast, y'all. So another band just made a killer album this year that could have made my top 10. Spirit Adrift, Ghosts at the Gallows. This is one I know even Lady Chapel, like, she definitely loves to hear Spirit Adrift.
Some of those songs, they always come up in your playlist on Spotify, and now they're just like embedded in my head. I'm just like, I love this song.
And they were great live too. What a great live band. But yeah, I mean, they make just kick ass. Like, if you like anything from like Sabbath to like UFO to just kind of old school metal, but just groovy with a lot of good guitar, they kick it. They got it on lockdown. Spirit Adrift is such a killer band. And another one I think needs to be a lot more popular than I think they are. I mean, they're popular amongst the underground, but I mean, they definitely should be out there a little more. After that, another good black metal record for the year, Uada. I don't know how you say their name correctly, but I cannot pronounce this, so I'm sorry. I grew up a poor redneck mountain man, or I was a little mountain kid, playing in the backwoods. So I don't pronounce these as properly as I probably should. But Uada, Crepuscule Natura, and I'm sure I butchered that, but it is still some of my favorite black metal, and it just kind of came later in the year. If I'd have probably heard them like in the summertime with this album, I probably would have had them in my top 10. But unfortunately, they didn't make it, but still a great honorable mention. If you don't know who Uada is and you like black metal, check them out. This album still is that their signature sound, that line between, like, it's like black and roll, and just straight up black metal. And I love that I don't know who any member is, and I love their presence live was great. But this album, kick ass. I mean, just kick ass. You can't go wrong with them if you're into that style of music. After that, I've got Death Clock with Death Album 4. I just got the new movie, and I haven't watched it yet. I just got it for Christmas. But the album itself was already so kick-ass, but I have nothing visually to go along with what the movie has. So I can't wait to watch the movie and kind of make a good comparison with the album. But the album itself, phenomenal. Love it. If you like Death Clock, you'll love it. There's no way you won't love it. Man, I've been such a fan of the whole Metalocalypse Death Clock thing since the beginning, you know. So it's I cannot wait to finish that off. And another band that from my past that I freaking love every time they put out a new album, Brujeria, or Brujeria, maybe is how the correct pronunciation, but nobody calls them that. Everybody I know calls them Brujeria. And so Brujeria, esto es Brujeria. You just can't go wrong with this this band who the mythos is they're like a devil worshipping cartel selling drugs, killing people, you know. I mean, of course, it's ridiculous. It's not real. But that's the basis of what the whole band is supposed to be. And, you know, a lot of members who've come and helped do the music, some of them aren't even Mexican, which is just hilarious, you know. But the main guys have been in it forever. And still just make songs that just tickle the shit out of me and are heavy as hell. And I'm so happy that they're still putting out records. This one was fun. It was very fun from start to finish. I know I have driven Lady Chapel crazy listening to it because she's like, I don't. But I love it. All right, another band that is still blowing my mind. Their second record is much better than their first, and I like their first one. But Max Cavalera and his son Igor doing Go Ahead and Die. What a killer, just straight up, just brash, in your face, a little punk hardcore metal record. I mean, I love Max. I've been a Max Cavalera fan for a very long time. This album is fun, and just I love putting it on. I don't mean fun in the way like their subject matter is not fun, but just the spirit and the intensity is, you know, is fun. I like it better than the first record, like I said, but still not enough to make my top 10. But God, it's still just, it's like one of those, like as soon as I hear Max, I'm like, yes, this is how Max should sound. After that's one of my favorite old school metal bands, Prong. Prong put out State of Emergency, and I even told Lady Chapel earlier today, I was like, if I'd heard this probably back in the summertime, it might have made my top 10. Because I love Prong. I have nothing but love for Tommy Victor. I met Tommy at a Danzig show, and he was such a cool dude. Anybody who knows me knows that I've been a pro wrestler for over 20 years, and when I talked to Tommy about pro wrestling, because I knew he was a fan, we just hit it off and had a huge conversation. And what a cool dude. But this album was great. One of the better, newer Prong albums. Some of the new Prong has been hit or miss for me, but this one was fun. There was a couple songs I didn't really care for, but overall as an album, I enjoyed about the whole listen. So thank you, Prong, for still putting out material. We got, after that, another band that is just a crazy band. They talk about a lot about Lovecraftian stuff. And that's Sulphur Aeon. 7 Crowns and 7 Seals. I know that's another one that comes up that Lady Chapel's just like, what the hell are we listening to? And I'm like, it's Sulphur Aeon. This is so cool. I love their stuff, and what a killer concept, and still a killer album. All right, my last honorable mention is for Lady Chapel and our friend Bree. This is Sleep Tokens. Take Me Back to Eden. I just decided early in the year, I was like, what is everybody's obsession with this band? I've got to check them out. I checked them out. I personally, for me, I dig kind of the concept and what they do, in a sense. I think the vocalist he's a really good vocalist. Overall, just not my thing, but I give it a listen, and I didn't hate it, but it's not quite my thing. But Lady Chapel and Bree both enjoy this band, so I definitely dropped it in my honorable mentions because I actually did listen to it. But I'm not on that bandwagon, if you catch my drift. All right, we're going to make this quick. I got to hit these 3 EPs real quick because I only listened to 3 this year, and these were solid for me. First is Ghost Phantomine, where they do the Phantom of the Opera Iron Maiden cover, the Tina Turner cover. They always do an EP when they do covers, and that Iron Maiden cover is, and I was like, damn, kudos for Ghost for pulling off an Iron Maiden cover the way that it is. It was killer. They also had the Genesis cover, Jesus, He knows me. He knows I'm right. They killed that. It's a killer cover. What a band that could go from Genesis to Iron Maiden. People want to give them shit, but I think they knocked it out of the park. It sounded great. It's another band that Mr. Kevin Lewis got me to check out is Siglos Rituales Sagrados. It has the old guitarist for Ministry, Sin was his name, and but then the vocals are in Spanish. So heavy. What a heavy EP. I'm like, I'm ready for an album from these guys. So definitely check out Siglos. I think that's how you say it. It's Siglos. Siglos. I think that's how you say it. The other one is Insomnium, who already put out an album, put out an EP called Songs of Dusk. And what was the name of that? Stained in Red. Mm-hmm. What a song! That video is so good. I was like, why was this not on the album? That definitely, that's one of my favorite songs of the year, and it's not even from an album; it's from an EP. Mm-hmm. Just what do you do? But yeah, definitely check out those EPs. But now, back to the list. Number 5. Everyone's favorite, mm-hmm. Well, at least my favorite, Native American black metal band, Black Braid, with Black Braid 2. Oh, we got to see Black Braid this year. Haven't got the Concert Chronicle edited yet. I cannot wait. They did not disappoint. I was very, very impressed with them live. Very, very impressed with that second album. I cannot wait to see where they go with the third one. I am on the Black Braid bandwagon. I love these guys. I cannot say enough about it. I mean, what is that? Man, it's going to kill me what the name of that song is. Moss Covered Skull on the Altar of the Moon. I mean, yeah. Oh, man, what a title, what a song. They played it live. Oh, it was killer. And I love the title in itself, just killer. Met one of the members there, the drummer, at just a chance little meeting, and he was super cool. But I like I said, I think they made my list last year with their first record. And this record I was more impressed with. I thought it really showed a lot more than the first album. And so I'm very, very happy with Black Braid. Keep up the good work, guys. My number 4, a band I didn't think would be in my top 10. I didn't think would even make number 4. Because I have griped about them before in an older episode of this, of my top 10. And that's Catatonia with Sky Void of Stars.
So good.
I couldn't believe how much I liked this album. My favorite Catatonia since Dark is the New Day. And because I have griped about a lot of their releases and how boring I've thought it was. And this was definitely not boring. If you're an old school Catatonia fan, this should really ring with you without sounding like completely old school. You know what I mean? It does sound like they finally jumped. They finally got a kick in the ass to write a solid record. That's not, didn't bore me to tears. It was beautiful. Everything about it was beautiful. The melodies are beautiful. It's just dark enough for Catatonia and not boring. I don't know what else to say. Austerity was like one of my most listened to tracks, and I guess because it's the first one on the album actually. But when I'm checking my Spotify here, I couldn't believe how much of it how much Catatonia I listened to. I was like, what? You've got to be kidding me. But no, this album really was good, stuck out for me. I mean, I know I talked about In Flames before, In Flames and Catatonia. I was like, what's going on? What year is it that I'm liking In Flames and Catatonia again? What's going on? But Catatonia, I have nothing but good things to say about the new album. So definitely check that out. Number 3, we got Mr. Former Caius, Josh Homme, from Queens of the Stone Age, with their new album, In Times New Roman. Oh man, I cannot wait. We actually were supposed to see Queens of the Stone Age this year, and it got rained out, and we're supposed to see them again sometime next year.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have a concert chronicle on that later. I cannot wait to do one on Queens of the Stone Age. I've been a fan since early 2000s. And this no different. He writes really good hooks, songs that just get stuck in my head. I can't get out. And to me, it's just like, it's such an odd way to look at old school rock and roll and make it something different than old school rock and roll. But it's really at its base, it's just old school rock and roll. And he just keeps layering it with his stuff, and I absolutely love it. I'm a long time fan of Queens of Stone Age, and this album did not disappoint me whatsoever. So yeah, definitely go out and check that out. We're getting close, hitting number 2. Number 2, this is probably my top metal, like just crushing metal album of the year. Orbit Culture, Descent. Oh my God. From start to finish, a masterpiece. Love these guys. I love their sound. I love everything about this band. Like, I could imagine if I had like the energy I had in my early 20s and I heard this band, I would just want to crush all the time. This band, they hit me like that so hard. I want to headbang like crazy when I hear Orbit Culture. And I was so ready for this new album, and it did not disappoint whatsoever. Start to finish, you cannot beat this album. And just their sound, their tone, the only thing that kills me, and I blame Lady Chapel, and I blame my buddy Catlin Strickland for pointing out that when they do the clean vocals, sometimes it's a little Hetfield sounding, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And now I hear it, and it drives me insane. But other than that, I love these guys. I love these guys so much. Descent is, like I said, it's just like taking a sledgehammer to the face sometimes. It's so heavy. you just can't beat it. But something did beat it, because I'm an old softy for this band, and their album hits me in ways I can't even explain. And Lady Chapel did get me the vinyl for Christmas. So going to unveil my number one album of 2023, and it is Baroness Stone. I absolutely love this album. I've been listening to Baroness since the beginning. I've seen this band grow so much from start to now. And, you know, it's always been a color. It's always been like red and blue and then yellow and green and, you know. But this, doing Stone is such a different, it's such a different Baroness record too. And Jenny, the other guitar player, doing vocals as well, the way her vocals blend with his is just is amazing. I absolutely love it. John's vocals is great. The artwork, of course, I haven't opened this yet, so I cannot wait to see what the artwork looks like inside. But just, you know, if you've never just looked up his artwork, you just look up his art. I mean, he's done every Baroness record, of course, but he's done other album covers for other bands, and you cannot beat it. I just love that, you know, I think being a Mastodon fan is what got me to like when I heard Baroness for the first time, and that's what hooked me to them immediately, because they definitely have that Mastodon feel in some of their stuff, but they're not like a straight ripoff of Mastodon, which ironically, I'm wearing a Mastodon shirt that Lady Chapel has gotten me for Christmas. So, but I mean, Stone is great. So many singable moments that just hit me deep in my soul. You know, I remember every last word. I remember it all. Fuck, I love that. I can sing along with that shit all day. I love the writing of this record. I love the feel of this record. I love being a Baroness fan. I mean, you know, I've been by these guys, like I said, for so long, and I'm still by them. And that's my top album of the year. And I hope I haven't bored you guys too much, and I hope I haven't rambled too long. But let's take the final shot. Cheers, everyone. Here's to 2024. Go out there and find you some good music.